And honestly, I ran into my one of the first refusal messages I had seen in a long time from one of these AIs.
Mm.
Just the other day, I was working on my chess training thing.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, I've got a machine learning project I've been working on using Apple's MPS graph to build a machine learning model to train it to play chess, and it's not very good yet. And it's mostly been a learning project for me. But I was running it under the macOS 27 beta,
Mm.
and everything kind of went badly once I put it under the beta. And one of the issues I was running into was the actual, I think it was I don't know if it was the MPS graph compiler or the metal compiler was crashing when I was trying to compile the graph object, and I was trying to figure out why it was crashing. And so I was talking with Claude. I said, well, just go through all the different directive things we use in the app, enumerate them all in a file.
Mm.
Now that we've got them all listed, put a number by every one of them, and then we're going to go through one at a time. You're going to try each one of them in as many different ways as we can with as many edge cases as we can think of, and just go through all of them and see which ones crash and which ones don't. And we're going to write a nice little piece of feedback to Apple and whatever. Well, anyway, I got to a point on that where it was crashing and I was like, oh, try it on all three data types that we use, to see if it crashes on all of them. And we ended up with, because we found a sequence that crashed reliably, but we're trying to still narrow it down to if it's certain operations or whatever. And the last one it did is it like tried it, the three different ways, and I saw its like tool result come back where it's like, oh, they did this crash, that crash. And I didn't actually get any response from the LLM. And instead, I got a big long thing saying, "Oh, it looks like you might be violating our terms of service."
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like, well, what?
what?
And it basically thought, I'm pretty sure I took screenshots, but it basically thought I was doing some kind of hackery cyber investigation thing because I was, repeatedly um, exercising certain APIs or interfaces to decide to figure out exactly which ones crashed and which ones didn't and what data types made it crash. And
Oh
they thought,
my
oh,
goodness.
you probably might be doing something bad here, and there's a big long bunch of text, and it says, hit escape twice and talk about something else, or start a new conversation and talk about something else.
Huh.
And then the long thing had in it, among other things, it said, because it says, oh, these models can't be used for this or that. And but it said, if we have a verified, what is it, a cyber verification program, they call it.
Mm.
And it's a program to say, well, if you're doing some of these things in a legitimate way, because there's, some things that are completely not allowed, like, trying to do a denial of service attack, for example, on
Mhm.
somebody.
Mhm.
But other things that might be allowed, like doing researching something. Um, and so they call those dual use items. So some of the dual use items might be permitted in certain situations. And so there's a thing, well, you could fill out a form to request this cyber verification program to request this would be fine. And the first question it asks was, um, how did you or what's a typical thing you might be using Claude for that in this context?
Mhm.
And they had an example of like I like to upload you know binaries or parts of files and have Claude analyze them for to see if they contain malware,
Sure.
something like that. And and that was their example. And I just said, well, I like to chase down bugs that are bothering me, especially.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
Yeah.
say. Right. And then there was another one of like, well, what's your, describe kind of in detail your use case.
Hmm.
And so I described in detail my use case with lots and lots of detail about what exactly I was doing and why and everything. And I'm like, well, it's probably Claude or someone's going to be looking at this anyway. So I could probably be thorough and long winded a little bit.
Hmm.
And then the next one was like, okay, now tell us about your credentials. Like what have you do you have any papers you published? Have you been on any CVE reports? Like
Oh.
some like vulnerability reports that you've turned into places. You have like a website, a blog, anything like that. Give us your LinkedIn. I'm like, well,
Wow.
my LinkedIn. So I put my LinkedIn and I put, well, I do iOS stuff. I've been a developer for this long. I've done some stuff with AI. This is a research project. Blah blah blah. I gave it a lot of detail, and then there was another question of like, like
And
what
this is
specifically were you doing?
this is all just to get like kind of this next level of access to them.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that,
yeah,
is
yeah.
that
And the
okay?
next level access thing says, and I did get it. It's a fast forward punchline here.
Okay.
Asks a few more questions, but yeah, let's see. Thanks you for applying to the cyber verification program. Oh yeah, they say you will. Our aim is to get back to you with a decision within 2 business days.
Hmm.
And then it says, hey, thank you for submitting your application. Upon review, we have adjusted the safeguards applied to your account to allow for the cyber use cases you described. And it says what this means: dual use cybersecurity activities, for example, vulnerability exploitation or offensive security tooling, will no longer be blocked by default for the organization associated with this approval. Then it gives you an organization ID.
Yeah.
Approval
So
applies only to this organization. If you work on multiple orgs, each one needs its own application. And it
you've
says
gone into a bucket now at Anthropic, right? Like
yeah,
your account is in a bucket that's
it's in a
associated
bucket.
with
And
it.
it says that you might still have things blocked. And it says this really only applies to the exact use case you talked about. So you could still get blocked for other things, and there's certain things that are still prohibited, like developing ransomware, for example.
Sure.
That's going to remain blocked. And but then they say if you're still seeing blocks, confirm your organization ID matches, confirm the activity isn't prohibited use, and then escalate suspected false positives using our false positive escalation form,
Yeah.
which I guess they have. But I was really on the fence about even filling out that form because I was like, well, if I filled this out, I don't know, because I was like, it was really caught me off guard because, like, again, kind of the same thing. I'm finding the tool valuable.
Yeah.
I'm using it for work, and I don't want to not suddenly have the tool because I bumped up against some guardrail that like 3 times in a row or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means anything, but I don't know. The whole area is really
Yeah.
hard to reason about what is the right thing to do. A friend of mine, I know he said like, oh, he's had 4 or 5 accounts because they keep getting shut down. I'm like, oh, geez, like doesn't seem to be any skin off his back, but I worry about it. I don't want to get
Yeah. That
on anybody's
seems
bad list, basically.